Hello and welcome back to the Social Matters podcast. We are three social workers talking about social matters. It's Christmas! I'm Eugene.
I'm Fran.
I'm Nadia. Hi.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas. Can I just say, Fran, I love your jumper. I just love it. Look at it.
Yes.
Slay the patriarchy.
Boom.
Where do you find these Christmas jumpers?
That's a good question.
Yeah, because I think I just go Sainsbury's and I think I got this one from Sainsbury's. Like, what's the Chewbacca and the Santa hat?
It is a good jumper, Huge, but it's got it has lights, but
why are you?
He's got a little battery pack in his pocket that's defunct. But it's good.
Thanks.
I think just the internet has some good ones.
You just get it online?
Yeah.
I really want to get a good one.
I want your one.
This is my husband's one. Shout out Robbie. He lent me this Christmas jumper. This is Thor's hammer. And it says, all I want for Christmas is a word that I can't pronounce.
Hold on, Naz, what does it say? What's the words? All I want for Christmas is what?
It's Robbie. Do you know what? Yeah, Robbie's gonna cuss me so hard because he told me like how to say it, and I just haven't said it. I haven't retained it.
Let's
I
get
do
there.
listen to you, babe. I promise. Molnir.
Yeah, that's what everyone wants for Christmas.
No, I'm not gonna try and butcher it.
I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, this is Thor's hammer.
So thank you, Robbie.
Hold on, is that Force Hammer?
Yeah. Go on. Yeah. Nah, I'm staying here. So
Marvel fans will get that. Everyone else will be like, what are you doing over there?
Yeah.
So yeah, Christmas episode.
Yes.
And that's why we're all kind of dressed up, not just on a random Monday in November. We're actually dressed up because it's Christmas. So we're going to have a bit of a discussion, Christmas feelings in this episode, but also we're also going to think about the social graces. And we've done a social graces episode before, but that was like
Back
5
in the
years
day,
ago.
I think season 1
Yeah, season
or
1.
2.
No,
One because we were in your spare bedroom.
Yeah. Season 1, episode 4. That's it.
Oh wow.
Remember,
Huge.
Mastermind Specialist Subject.
Amazing.
Yeah, what episode? So yeah, bringing back the social graces and doing that again. But before we get into the meat of the discussion or the depths of the discussion, we're going to do what we haven't done for a while with Christmas episodes and share our Secret Santa gifts.
Oh my days! Why is it taking so long? Like
He's like, what?
Share our Secret Santa gifts. But before we get into the opening of our presents,
Oh really? Come on.
yeah, sorry, a little bit more. We had to build up.
Okay. All right.
But before you arrived, Fran, I was talking to Nadia about how easy it is to work out who got. Sorry, I'm ruining it.
No, we're in Christmas.
Sorry, but like, come on, you're trying to do Secret Santa between 3 people. You're gonna know.
Huge was like
All right.
trying to break it down for me. He's like, well, if you've got this person, then that person obviously can't have that person. I'm like, well, why is it obvious? Because Nadia, it's obvious. Like, no, but why? Like, I just can't wrap my head around it.
Do you get it, Fran?
Yeah, because if it's not you, then it's you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I can't have myself.
Yeah.
No, but if Huge was saying that, because I was like, yeah, but then it's either
Let
you
me-
or you. Or like, it's either like the other 2 people. And
Let-
he's like, no, because it's that one person. Like, how do you know that?
Let me explain it. So let's
on
just say that
Come on then.
Let me explain my theory.
People.
So,
You explain. Go on.
let me explain from my perspective. So let's say, and I won't bring you two into it because then it'll be a bit obvious. But let's say I'm friends with Stormzy and my Jammer.
Oh,
So
yeah.
We're doing Secret Santa.
I actually think I am.
No,
I'm
I
invested in their
really want to be.
relationship.
Yes,
Yeah.
so me too.
Why do you think I brought them up?
Okay, right.
We'll tag them and see if they jump on this. But let's say I'm doing Secret Santa with Stormzy and my Jammer.
Okay.
So I've got my Jammer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got that. Okay, I think I've explained this the right way. So I've got my Jammer.
Yeah.
So Stormzy can only have me or my Jammer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've got my Jammer.
Yeah.
Stormzy can only have me. He can't have himself.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm explaining it. So if I know that I've got my Jammer,
Yeah. Then who's Stormzy got?
so Stormzy has to have me.
Okay.
Because he can't have himself and I've got my Jammer.
Okay.
So if I know that I've got my Jammer, then my Jammer can't have me
Our listener
She
numbers
can't.
are
Hold
just
on.
going down, down,
I'm there.
down.
So my Gemma can't have me because
Yeah.
that means Stormzy will have Stormzy because there's only one more left.
Yeah.
Does that make sense now?
When you said it at first, I understood it, and now I don't understand. Like, I can't wrap my head.
Anyway, should we get the presents
Yeah,
back?
let's do it.
But that depends on the order that you draw it, because from the outset, if none of us have drawn, we equally
Yeah.
have a possibility of 2.
Yeah.
But if you draw first, then of course that goes
No,
down.
it's not if who draws first. It was the app.
is.
No, because the app I used, it all drew it at the same time. It's only when you logged in that's when you found out who you got.
Can we just open the presents?
No, we're not opening the presents.
No.
It's just like Maths GCSE. You can't get a pass mark unless you show you're working out.
Okay, I get it.
But actually, this isn't the point of Secret Santa. Is finding out. I really struggle with that at Secret Santa when they're like, "Oh no, you're not allowed to tell." I'm like,
Bro,
I
are
wanna
you
know.
still talking? Are you
Okay,
still
sorry.
talking?
All right, let's go.
Come on.
Tell him to stop
Go on.
explaining.
All right.
Who wants to be Santa?
No, should we just do it all at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we're reaching under the table.
Yeah. This is my one. All right.
My one.
Oh, this is mine. I don't know whose handwriting this is.
What does it say on it?
Says Eugene, love Father Christmas.
Oh, so I guess it's
Alright.
their handwriting.
Oh, no way!
Ah.
This is so good. So I got the catchphrase card game because I love catchphrase. And I've been on catchphrase as well. When was like a good 7 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned it briefly on the podcast before, but you came second, right?
I did come second.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you won some good prizes.
I won some really good prizes.
And also, if anyone knows Nadia, she is one of the most competitive board game people that you'll ever come across. She's all calm now, right now, saying she came second. Like, she was not happy with that second place. Like, and it's funny. I think we discussed it before, but because I play board games with you, and then I saw you on TV when it was like, oh, well done, Nadia comes second, and you like, I'm looking at her. I was like, she is pissed off right now, and she's all like, yeah, well done,
Well done. Right, 50
Are
grand was
you
mine.
go next?
Yeah, I can open it.
Oh, I love this. I love this. Self-portrait. I'm Eugene.
So, this is my present. I'm not sure what it means, but I guess, yeah, thanks. Thank you. Thank you, whoever got it for me.
Really nice.
Yeah, it's a really nice one. I'm just
Bit
gonna
of
put
art.
I'm just gonna put it on the table and so everyone can see.
A little bit of art there.
Thank you.
Um,
I know just where it's going in my home.
Hey, and I've got football socks
Yay.
for my big feet, size 6 to 11, for the size 8 big-footed. Oh, thank you, Secret Santa.
Aw.
Gosh, Santa's really excelled, particularly with that bit of art, you. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Hey! Oh, just not the mic. Some neon ones as well. Love it.
Oh, that's right up your street with the whole like.
High vis.
Hello, yeah,
High
high
vis.
vis.
So who got who?
Do you want me to
I know as well.
what? Go on.
You got me,
Yeah,
and then Fran got Huge.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the same. It's the same setup every year. Because when we did this last time, it was the same thing. It was like I got you.
No. I got you last time, didn't I?
What did you get me?
A swear jar.
No, that's what I got for you.
Oh shit.
Man, paying attention. Paying attention.
So
Oh, it's great. It's great to know that you're still using that present.
I have to say, I have to talk about your art.
Yeah.
So basically, when I drew the name, I got really excited and got on it straight away.
Yeah.
And the art hasn't come, so I had to create my own art.
Shut up.
Oh, really?
So that is only half. So Santa gave me a call and said, "Look, could you do some art?" Because actually,
Where'd you get that from?
I drew that this
You're
morning.
lying.
I love it, Fran.
Clearly drawn.
I can't see what. Where'd you get yellow paper from?
I have it at home. So you said last
Oh,
night.
I like this one more now.
I said to these two, "Oh no, like half of it hasn't arrived." And you'd messaged like, "You better come through, Fran." So this morning I was like,
Is that why-
the acid face. So That might be better than the actual
Oh, I
thing
like
now.
that. Thanks,
That is
Fanny.
so good. I
Yeah.
love that. Oh,
And then
thanks.
with me and your, so I didn't know whether you had that game because you got loads of board games.
Yeah.
But it's a deluxe edition, so it has more cards than it did before.
Okay.
But obviously because you went on catchphrase and that connection.
I love it. I love it. And yours, Franny. So I had to message Alison to ask her what football colours that you play in.
Oh,
So that's why I was like, and I messaged her like on a weekend, like, on her work mobile, and then she was like so gracious and got back to me straight away. But yeah,
Yes.
so those
Because
are your colours.
my hot flush team, it's red. Yeah, red and orange. Perfect.
Oh.
Oh.
I was going to leave it to the listeners to guess who got who, but we just ruined that surprise.
Aw.
Anyway, Merry Christmas. We
Merry
and we could
Christmas.
wrap it up again and put it under the tree and open it again on.
Oh no, I'm playing that tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you're getting that on your wall.
Yeah. It's okay because I'm redecorating, so no, just.
I feel like I'm pleased that you thought that was original art. Well, it is original art, but that like
No, it does look like. Well.
No, I thought that you'd bought it.
Yeah,
and,
I
you know,
thought.
I was laughing all the way here. I'm like, oh, wait till I see this. You were, oh, yes, thank you.
Yeah, but then no Nad's over there. Oh, self-portrait, rude, bro. Did you
It's
Instagram?
good. It's smiling.
Yeah, but why is she cussing me out like this on Christmas Day?
because
I was in the festive
That is what
mood.
Christmas is, isn't it? It's that humour that's just one step away from tears.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you okay?
No, I'm crying on the inside. Do you guys fight on Christmas Day in your family? Do you? How much? That's normally a good place for us to have arguments in me and my family.
Does it kick off?
Not every Christmas, but
EastEnders Christmas special.
but there's been yeah exactly. But there's been a few Christmases where there's a bit of pointless arguments. It happens on Christmas Day. I'm like, oh yeah, I wonder what we're gonna argue about this year.
Catchphrase.
Do you know? Yeah, no, not really. We don't really have showdowns on Christmas Day, but I know it's a thing.
Christmas Eve, Boxing Day.
Yeah. I know it's a thing because like sometimes alcohol and stuff gets involved, but the Christmas work parties, mate, that's probably a whole podcast.
Oh
in itself,
yes.
scandalous sometimes.
Some
isn't it?
people have to hand the notice in the day after.
Shocking.
You know. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You. So today we're going to be thinking about the social graces, and shout out to Liz Bosenket at Collective Space. She and her team are doing amazing things in the systemic social work world, and they have come up with this nifty little, I don't know, device. What would we call it?
Wheel of discussion. That's what
Okay.
we call it.
Wheel of discussion, yeah. That to talk about social graces, and I was having a chat with Liz about it, and she kind of explained a little bit of how it came about. So, firstly, I suppose we should talk about the social graces and what they are for people who might not know. But the social graces are elements of social similarity and difference that we all sort of occupy in some way, and the reason why they're called the graces is because they stand for different things that spell out graces. So gender, geography, race, religion, age, accent, ability, class, culture, employment, ethnicity, spirituality, sexual orientation, and sexuality. So
Look at her showing off her knowledge there. She's like, they stand for boom.
things. And yeah, it's just elements of social similarity and difference, and how they kind of intersect, how they help us view the world, how we kind of interact with others in accordance with their graces, and what happens in the relationship between as a result of that.
And who came up with them? Pray tell.
So it was John Burnham, family therapist, and Alison Roper Hall, and they came up with this acronym. And it's not to be an exclusive list, so it can absolutely bring in other things like sometimes health. I think is a good one to have in there, or what was
Parenthood, I think, is one, and
some other ones.
And you mentioned accent, because accent isn't in the original list, but that's one that's come in over the years, because it's a part of how we identify, how we're perceived by the world, and how we interact with the world. So yeah,
Yeah, definitely. So the wheel of discussion came about because Liz and her team were kind of thinking about how thinking about a way to have conversations about the graces and almost as a way of practicing it. So Liz gave this really helpful kind of link to how she kind of came up with WOD, because Liz is super into fitness. She's mad fit. And there's a training program that she was going through, and there was every day a workout of the day.
It's from CrossFit, isn't it?
Oh, is it CrossFit?
Yeah.
Okay. So this workout of the day is that if you do like this one thing and practice it over and over and over again, you become like proficient in that part of the training. And so that kind of stayed with her, and then she developed the wheel of discussion, this WOD, to help us practice doing this every day, to help us get better at being able to have conversations about similarities and differences with our like peers, our colleagues, our friends, as a way of kind of helping us in social work. So that, you know, she's in the systemic social work space. But we thought it would be really good for us to have a go on the podcast and do this now.
Yeah. Because also when I've been thinking and kind of linking it in with Christmas and thinking about belonging, thinking about identity, it's so key that we kind of work on it, like Liz mentioned in with the CrossFit workout, working it on a consistent basis, work on having these sort of conversations, because in order for people to feel like they belong to an environment, to feel included in an environment where different people from different backgrounds and different identities come together, they have to feel that they can talk about aspects of their identity. They have to feel that people can ask questions and talk about their aspects of identity, because ultimately, whether it's a workspace, friendship groups or family, we feel more of a sense of belonging where people are able to talk about different aspects of our identity. So it's a nice link to Christmas. We didn't even plan that link.
Yeah, and I think the more we practice having those conversations, the deeper we go, because we're all quite used to it and we're all very familiar with the social graces. I was actually laughing the other day. I was chatting to my girlfriend and I was saying something. I said, I think it's when we'd done some training as part of Social Matters, and I was talking about, we did something on the social graces. Do you know the social graces? And she's like, yes, I know the social graces. I think all of our partners are like, they know the social graces as well.
Yeah.
But, I guess we can, we are more used to it. But I know certainly the first time I was introduced to the social graces, it probably didn't have as depth and nuance as it does now when I have those conversations. So it is really good to practice, isn't it? And how creative and exciting.
So good.
So talk us through it first of all, like what it work?
So the outside are the social graces. So this outside, there's two wheels: the outside wheel and the inside wheel. The inside wheels are the questions, and the outside wheel are the graces. And you kind of choose a grace and then spin the wheel of discussion and land on a question. And the question is, I've just done it for an example: how is success defined by your spirituality? Discuss. And then we have a conversation. So
So do you pick the grace first, or can you spin the grace?
You can spin the grace. Yeah, but I can't.
It's more the question.
Yeah, I think it's more the question.
Yeah. Brilliant.
So you, as because we talked about catchphrase, you're Steve Mulhern right now.
Oh, yeah?
Catchphrase.
Okay, I'll take that.
So choosing the grace. So you're going to choose the grace and then spin the...
Should I choose, yeah?
Yeah, or maybe we all choose one each and then we just have a go.
But don't look. I like the element of,
I'm just spinning the outside one. It's going to land... Okay, class or caste is what it's landed on. And the question is... how was your childhood shaped by your class or caste? Interesting. Who would like to go first?
I think we've spoken about. Have we spoken about class? I can't. A specialist subject episode. Yeah. And I think part of that, or certainly when I have discussions around class now, again, it's almost that like it's pervasive, it's everywhere. But I think. Similar to conversations we've had on the podcast previously, that maybe because of its complexity, people are like, I'm not quite sure. And there's stuff being written about having many more classes, and I guess sort of the original maybe kind of upper middle working. And I'd certainly subscribe to that. So I suppose in terms of starting with kind of self-identifying, I would say I identify as middle class now. in terms of, I think the anchors I use for that are probably education, and maybe the culture within my family, and I guess kind of thinking about things I do in terms of maybe like cultural capital and like things I like to see and do in my in my hobbies and pastimes. But I suppose going back to my experience in childhood, my dad was from a working class background, and my mum, I almost call it like business class. And I say that because it's interesting, because her dad was an immigrant and they had a business, but I suppose middle class. My parents both went to grammar school, which back in the day, if you did your 11 plus, that was almost like your ticket to university or, education. So there was 11 schools were streamed. So it was your secondary modern or your grammar school, and grammar school gave that opportunity for people, and that's where my parents went. It's interesting in terms of intersecting with kind of finances. So we never had any money, so financially didn't have any money, but lived in a middle class area. So I think I always had this sort of identity crisis. We were the house in the street that was like, get out of our neighborhood, please. With your cut and shut car and everything else. So it was, so it's an interesting one. And my parents are both teachers. So how did it influence? I think maybe culturally, middle class, but I think economically didn't feel like that. So I think I've always had a little bit of a identity crisis. But in doing that, it's not to kind of then disown one and be like, because I wouldn't say I was working class. My parents were teachers. Like that would be remiss of me to say that. But so I think it probably influenced it in terms of how we spent our time. But I think financially, maybe some things that people associate with middle class wasn't there. So I think economically was impacted.
Okay. Do you know what? It's really interesting because firstly, I was thinking about class and how to define it and what what box do you fit in, but I've done this quiz. I think I've spoken to you both about it before, of like trying to identify which class you're in, and apparently there are like 7. It's like a BBC quiz like from back in the day, and there are different classes depending on not just your income, but money that you have, your assets, how you choose to spend your spare time, who like who's in your friendship or social groups, your education, that sort of thing. I can't remember. I think I landed on like emergent middle class or something like that. But yeah, I suppose growing up, I would identify as working class, but now I'm middle class. I'd say on paper, I'm considered middle class in terms of education and the other kind of parts of my life. But for me, class like just really intersects with race for me, and it just made me think of what then did my kind of how did my race play into what was happening for me growing up, and who I associated with, and how I kind of socialized, and what I did on the weekends and stuff. So that was for me. I was thinking a lot about, because my kind of social groups were very mixed and very diverse, as I am very mixed and very diverse. So, and I remember there was a black girl that I used to hang around with sometimes, and she'd be like, why are you hanging out with the white guys? Like, why are you doing that? And I was like, I don't know. I'm just cool with everyone. And there was this real kind of like, almost like untold story of like disloyalty if you had like lots of different friendship groups, which is what what I did have. And I, looking back, I was able to kind of navigate it quite well, I think. But in terms of class, like some of the activities and things that the white girls were doing, like I wouldn't necessarily be doing that because I'd be going so they when they started to go like the underage raves and stuff, like, listen, my mum was Jamaican, like she went I wasn't going to those, we was going to church. When
you said that, I was like, what were the white girls doing? I was like
underage raves and stuff, having a little smoke, having a little drink, and like, I don't know if that was classy. I don't know, but yeah, for me, class and race, like I'm just finding it really difficult to kind of like separate it out. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
I was thinking actually how it intersected also with religion for me, because I was raised a Catholic and I went to a Catholic secondary school, so comprehensive school, state school, but I think a lot of the schools in my area were reflective of the area that they were in. So if they're in a kind of quite middle class area, that would be that, whereas the Catholic school was in the city centre and people came from everywhere, so it was really diverse in terms of class. So in terms of class, I had a really diverse friendship group because everyone was from everywhere. So I think that was, rather than it just being reflective of the immediate neighbourhood that it was in. But I think in London, neighbourhoods are much more mixed up than up north anyway. Whereas up north, it is much more.
Yeah. It's funny, I was just thinking a bit more now because I was thinking about some of the extracurricular.
We'll let you come in, Huge, but meanwhile.
Whatever.
I'm all right with it.
I was thinking about some of the extracurricular activities I used to do growing up. I used to swim, I used to play the flute, play the piano. That's all quite middle class.
I know when you said that, I was like, babes, classically trained flautist.
Yeah, no, actually, yeah, maybe not. I don't know. This is a challenge for me and my identity.
But yeah, it's making me think about, because the question was around how did class influence your
How was your childhood shaped by your class?
But again, it goes back to the ideas of, for me, that with all aspects of the social graces, that they're not boundaries there. Like the boundaries inevitably blend and filter into each other. So I think it's both and. I think you can be from a working class background and go swimming, and because it's not to mean that if you're from a working class background, you the boundaries there, so you can't learn an instrument, you can't go swimming, you can't, because I think it's connected with social economic factors. It's connected with geography, like you mentioned about where people live, communities. I think migration plays a huge role in it, and that's probably an influence of my story in relation to class, because I like you both now, considering the fact of education, employment, income, how I kind of experience culture, middle class on paper, but very, very strong working class upbringing, and that was linked with economics, that was linked with geography and where we lived, and the community and free school meals. But all of that just doesn't disappear because of the notions of social upward mobility, and my mum was very, very big on education being the route out of economic hardship, and I went to university under a Labour government because of where we were with regards to income. Most of my tuition fees were paid, whereas if I tried to go to university now, I wouldn't be able to get that. So I think class had an influence on my life in a challenging way in some aspects, but also in a fortunate way, in a beneficial way, because it allowed me to get to the position I'm in now. But I think for me, boundaries, when I think about class and how it influenced my life growing up, but also now, I think they're not hard boundaries. I think they blend into each other. And also, I don't believe in like you mentioned, those different class status. I don't believe in the free working, middle and upper class. I think there is way more nuance than that. I think migration, stories of migration comes into it, and I think intersect, like you mentioned with regards to race. I think how class intersects with other aspects of identity is a true reflection of somebody's class experience as well.
I was just looking at the time. Do you want to have a little spin, Franny?
Yeah, so okay. Oh, I've moved this. What? All right. How do I move that? Oh, okay. Right. We've got geography. How has your health been affected by your geography?
Oh,
That's a good question. You know what? I like this, Will. Well done, Liz. The collective.
yeah.
It's interesting because these are not sort of questions that I would have asked in relation to my geography, for example, or in relation to my class before.
Yeah. Oh, that's such an interesting question. I think for me, I grew up in Hackney. I just wanted
No way. You never mentioned that, Nads.
I'm from Hackney, you lot. Yeah. And I grew up really close to Homerton Hospital. So like I've never actually thought of that about this until this question, but like it was very reassuring that the hospital was right there. Like we were never, thank God, never kind of drastically sick or poorly. But I remember I used to run a youth group in Hackney, and one of the kids had quite severe allergies, and he had like an allergic reaction when we had a youth group event one night, and the hospital was just right there, and we just took him straight to the hospital. So there was something, reassuring about having a Homerton Hospital there. But in terms of health, by my geography, that I was generally quite a healthy kid. Did lots of sports and stuff. So it's not one that I've really kind of had to. It's a bit of a blind spot for me if we're thinking about blind spots with the Graces. Health is one that I've never really suffered with ill health. So it's not impacted my life in that way. But it's a very interesting question.
It's really interesting, and it made me think about, I remember a friend of mine is from Rochdale, and I remember the life expectancy of males there. I may be, sorry if I can't speak. Sorry if I'm quoting it incorrectly, but I think it was about 69. It's quite shocking. So there is a real difference and disparity around geography and health outcomes for people. So I think there's something in that, and I guess me being from the north, I think sometimes lack of access to some of the facilities that London has. So I've lived in London since 2007, so many years. So on one hand, maybe services were less stretched, so you might get kind of quicker access to stuff, but you might have to travel further to the nearest heart place or whatever specialist care. I was thinking that about people I know, kind of family members, where you've got to go further afield, but I can't think of anything particular for me, I guess, from being up to north. I remember living in Leeds, and then we moved to a village outside of York, and I remember my hay fever being really bad, and I couldn't see, and I was like, why am I in this wheat field living here? So I do remember that, but I don't know whether it would have been bad in a city. But it's interesting, isn't it? I guess urban and more rural places.
And it's interesting when you mention, and again, it's a reflection of our own reflexive relationship with each of the social graces, because both of you, in response to geography, talked about the areas you lived. For me, you zoomed in and from a micro perspective, but immediately when I heard that question, I was thinking on a national perspective.
NHS.
Exactly. And thinking about healthcare, my geography of being lucky to have grown up in this country and having free healthcare compared to if we grew up in another part of the world, in places where healthcare is not free, where healthcare facilities are not the same as they are here, where people don't have an accessible hospital on their doorstep, or in America where, for example, where a lot of healthcare is private. And the idea of something as simple as asthma, which a lot of people have, that being involving regular medication for the rest of your life with regards to inhalers, how that impacts your health insurance. How a good job means that you get a certain level of healthcare in America, compared to if you work at Starbucks, for example. Your health insurance and healthcare will be very, very different. But here, to an extent, and we accept and understand the NHS needs to be protected, and the pressures on it makes it really, really hard and really challenging for the people in the NHS now. But I think my healthcare when I was younger, my geography of living in the UK meant that I think I was quite privileged when it comes to health growing up and also now. And whereas I think it's not the same in other parts of the world. So a really good question to help think reflexively.
Okay, so we're coming to the end of our time together, but I just want to read a couple more. We're not going to have time to do another question.
We talk way too much.
Yeah, we do. One of the questions is, how might your best friend describe your race? How is the concept of family defined by your culture? What might be different about your life if you were a different sexuality? That's interesting. How was your education influenced by pick any social grace? Yeah.
Can we go and have some
I
lunch
know, I
and
was
discuss
like,
it? I was like,
yeah,
this is a
I
really
was
good
like-
conversation.
These are
Yeah.
great.
Sorry, everyone, you won't be able to
Yeah.
hear this on the episode, but like, it's really good. But yeah, that's a really good tool and device.
Really good tool. So you can actually buy these. If you wanted to get them, please look up Collective Space. Just Google them, and you can hit up Liz, and she'll be able to get one out to you. But really, really helpful
Amazing.
little tool, and great conversation starter. So yeah.
As a bit of a checkout, because we're coming to the end of the episode, what are you guys going to be doing on Christmas Day?
So I'm actually going to be in Brussels.
Oh, you're going back to Brussels?
Yeah.
Nice.
So my brother lives there. So yeah, family going there. So that should be nice.
Oh, nice.
Family coming to ours. We're having Christmas at ours this year. So my sister, her kids, my mum, my sister-in-law, I think. Yeah, all of us come together.
Nice. Yeah, I'm going to my mum's. Christmas doesn't start until I go to my mum's. I try to stay there for a few days, go on Christmas Eve, and then leave on either Boxing Day on the 27th, depending on the nature of the arguments. That we have good times, but yeah, looking forward. For me, Christmas is about family and friends and connecting rather than presents, although I appreciate the portrait. But yeah, looking forward to it. But thank you everyone for listening. We have been 3 social workers talking about social matters. You can find us on X and on Instagram at Matters Podcast, the Facebook, the Social Matters Podcast, and also you can watch this episode on YouTube. Do like, do share, do follow, do subscribe, and continue the conversations about social graces and identity. And we'll see you very soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.